If you can't master the transition zone, it's going to be nearly impossible to get to the next level. In this video, we're breaking down how the pros move through it so effortlessly so that you can level up and start winning more points. First things first, if we want to master the transition zone and make it really easy and become really efficient as we transition from the baseline to the non-volley zone, we have to address the split step. It doesn't matter who you're watching, any good player, as they come through the transition, you are going to see a common theme in their footwork as they hit their split step in that balanced and stable stance so that they can be well prepared for each and every ball. So now let's jump into the ideal split step and what it looks like, okay? As I come through transition, right before my opponent hits the ball or directly after, I have to be going into a position where I'm really low. I have a very wide base, and not only that, I really have to make sure that my feet are parallel to each other. There's a lot of times where I see players in too narrow of a stance, and obviously this is not great because the ball is going to be coming down and now they're going to have to reach from that high position. And there are also times where I see players have a pretty good wide base, but now their feet are staggered in this kind of position. It's really important that we have our hips directly faced towards the ball so that we are well balanced, because in this position, I can be well prepared for a forehand, reset if I need it, or a backhand. If my hips are misaligned and I have one foot well in front of the other, it's going to be very awkward and my balance is going to be off. The next thing that I really want to talk about is the ready position in transition. As a general rule of thumb, the deeper you are in transition, the lower your paddle should be. Why is this? Because the deeper you are, you're closer to the baseline and they're most likely going to be hitting down, right? In this position, deep in transition, if I'm here, there's really no reason to be up here because these balls are going to be going out. So I really want to make sure my paddle is low so that I'm already in a good position to defend my knees, my shins, and my feet where the ball would be headed. Mastering the split step and getting through the transition is only one of the key aspects of the game. In our new course, Total Pickleball Mastery, we actually go over all the key shots and strategies that you need to know to dominate the court. So check it out in the description below or go to totalpickleballmastery.com. Now that we know where our paddle position should be in transition, which is waist level or below, the next thing that I want to address, and just a key tip for you as you're in transition, is to see where your elbows are, okay? So it's really important that we are actually trying to volley the ball in transition before we let it bounce. So in that case, I like to hold my paddle out here in front of me, and you will see my elbow well in front of my hips. I see a lot of players set up in transition and the paddle is really close to their body and they make a lot of mistakes, and now they're reaching out to the ball when instead they could already have their paddle out in this position, and now as they go out to reset the ball, it's really just opening the paddle face and then letting that ball bounce off the paddle into the non-volley zone. Now that we're low and we have our good ready position with our elbow out in front, one of the most important things for our resets is staying low through the shot. So what does this mean? When I'm in this position, I already have a good, strong, solid base, and I want to be using that base to stay balanced through the shot. So as I'm taking either my forehand reset like this or my backhand reset like this, you will see that I'm really using my shoulder for this shot. I'm using maybe a little bit of legs, but one of the biggest mistakes that I see players make is they're actually coming up or rising through their shot, which actually makes it harder to control and really sends that ball a lot higher than they should hit it. So I would suggest that in this position, you stay low, and through your reset, you actually keep your knees bent and then progress up to the non-volley zone line. Next, I want to talk about a little bit of the strategy that's going on in your opponent's mind as you are in the transition zone. We know that they are going to be hitting the ball at your feet, and at higher levels, it is really important that we cover our dominant side really well. So at lower levels, or if you're just starting in transition, I see a lot of players just sitting towards their backhand in transition. And again, this is great if they're getting balls kind of in front of their body or towards their backhand, but when it comes outside toward their dominant side or outside my dominant knee, now they're forcing a backhand on this side. So at higher levels, it is good to expect that you will get balls on your dominant side. So it's really important when I hit this split step that I'm more neutral with my paddle position, because in this position, I can get to my forehand just as easy to get to my backhand or cover my body like this. Another area where I see players struggle in transition is that they have this mentality that they're going to be hitting one good reset and they're going to be right up at that non-volley zone line right away. Now, depending on the quality of your partner shot or the quality of your shot, that's really going to determine how much progress you can make up to the non-volley zone line. So you have to make sure that you're assessing the height of the ball, and you have to be comfortable with not only taking one split step and one reset in transition, but you might have to take multiple shots before it's safe to come in so that you can safely stay away from attacks and then get up there with your partner. So now that we know what position we should be in and how to optimize our positioning and our stance in the transition zone, let's talk about the decision-making process as I'm making my way through transition. The biggest thing that I'm watching out for is the height of contact on my opponent's side of the net. So again, if I'm hitting a third shot drop, fifth shot drop, and I'm coming in, or I'm trying to decide whether to come in, again, just a general rule of thumb, if they are attacking well above the net, I need to make sure that I A, hold my position, or B, if I have time, I may give myself some room, take a quick step back, which will allow me more time to defend out of that shot. If the ball my opponent is hitting on the other side of the net is very low or is below that net level, this is a time where I can proceed and actually approach the non-volley zone line and make up ground so that I can get closer to my desired position. Now, this decision-making process will definitely take time, so you need to hit a lot of drops and a lot of shots in this transition so that you can make those decisions on the fly. Now we're gonna show you 3 practical exercises that you can work on, which is going to help this process as you master the transition zone. All right, drill number 1. This is something that you must master in transition, and it is that balance in that split step before you hit the ball as you await the ball coming towards you. So here we have Dawson, and right around the middle of the transition zone, he's going to work on his split step. Remember, the keys are a wide stance, balance, paddle ready in a low position, and making sure that your feet are parallel to each other. So Dawson, go ahead and do one, then stop right here. Good. So in this position, Dawson is very balanced, and the biggest key thing is that his body, or the center of gravity on his body, is very balanced. Okay, so let's lean forward a little bit, Dawson. Some players like to split step and their chest is too far forward. So if I were to push Dawson, right, he's kind of leaning too far forward. And let's lean back a little bit, Dawson. This is a split step that you don't want to be in either, because the more you lean back, you're going to be popping balls up. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have our chest slightly in front of our knees or equal with our knees, and we're in a good position. So Dawson's gonna just work on that 2 times. He's gonna do 2 more. Go ahead, Dawson. Good. Okay, super balance. And then 1 more time, and I'm gonna check your balance, Dawson. Go. Stop right there. So if I can't push him forward and I can't push him backward, then he's very solid. And this is critical and essential when you're prepping for the ball to come to you. All right, drill number 2, to really master this transition zone and get a hold of it so that you can get up to the net every single time. We talked about how sometimes you're going to have to take multiple split steps depending on the height of the ball, because we don't want to be aggressively coming in when our opponents are hitting the ball above net level. So in this drill, it is going to force you to at least take 2 split steps in transition. And again, this is to force you so that you can get used to taking multiple stops. I call them checkpoints, so that you can get very comfortable taking multiple shots in transition. So Dawson's going to feed me a ball. I'm going to hit my drop. I'm going to come in. I'm going to split step, really nice balanced split step on this first checkpoint, hit my reset. And regardless if it bounces or it doesn't, I'm going to make sure that I make some progress and split step here. Now, here is the big takeaway. There are times where we can get all the way to the line from this first checkpoint, but in this drill, we're really training another split to safely come in, because with players, as they're hitting with more pace and more topspin out of the air and off the bounce, we are going to have to really come in safely. So this drill emphasizes that. Drill number 3, whatever level you are, you should be doing this one. This is going to be a live transition drill where the player at the non-volley zone is going to be feeding a very tough, realistic, deep ball, which would be the return, to the player at the baseline. And whether I choose to drive or drop the ball, I'm going to try my best to make really good decisions based on the height of the contact by my opponent. So the higher the contact is, especially if it's above net level, I'm gonna hold my ground or hold my position and stay back. And the lower the contact is, or the more time I have, so if I get that ball to bounce, then I'm going to make the approach towards the net, but remembering at the same time that I have to be balanced and stopped on every single shot. Now it's time to actually grab a partner and do these drills to master the transition zone. If you actually want to know what to do when you actually get up to the non-volley zone line, go ahead and check out this video here, and also check out our course, Total Pickleball Mastery. Click here or check the description below.